And we used to always call the hour before we went on the air the panic hour, because we were really, don't forget, all the sports games, especially in the West, were just ending as we were hitting the air. And somehow you had to formulate, your thoughts on the game, especially if it was a Canucks game, but many games, you had to formulate all your thoughts in a very short period of time. And you get quite good at that, quite frankly. And I always kind of laugh a little bit at the people on the news side in our business. They'll have these big election nights, right? And they'll have all hands on deck for an election coverage. And they'll order the pizza and all the soft drinks and all the things, and they'll have, all these people there, and they'll say, "Oh, the results are coming in, and blah 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 blah. We gotta. Oh, whoa, we were on it tonight." Well, good, that's great. We had to do that every night, and the results are always coming in. You better have something to say about them too. You can't just, you can't just go on and have no analysis to it or no meaning to what's happening. So I kind of get a little kick out of that.
Yeah, I'm quite guilty of the election night pizza and the days of prep. And basically, from 7 to 8, yes, you have lots to say because you've done all your studying. But then once the polls close, you're flying by the seat of your pants. So I definitely know that feeling of election night. The game of hockey certainly changed over the 30 years of sports talk. You talk about rule changes, loser points, and all that. The Canucks going through their changes too, but it's fair to say that you too also changed. When did you know it was time to end the show, to retire the show?
I got to a point, John, where I felt maybe it was a bit of a burnout. Well, the last chapter the last year spent on Sea Isle, which was AM 650, and it was a different model for me, because at that point radio had changed so much that if I wanted to keep making the kind of living I was doing, have the freedoms that I wanted, I was going to have to actually purchase the airtime and then sell that time to make ends meet, which initially we did very, very well, actually better than I ever thought. But it became a grind, and I really found well, in my book I said I had newfound respect for people who wrote newspaper columns every day. That was one thing, because I found that when I was with the Vancouver Sun to be extremely daunting. And I also had new respect for people who sell airtime, because I had, it was just so frustrating waiting for answers, and I couldn't find a sales manager. So I was doing all of it myself, and it was really tiring me out. And I'd had a long run. And then I couldn't spend the same amount of hours prepping the show that I wanted to, and researching and coming up with angles editorially. And I thought to myself that, even I'm starting to get a little tired of my voice, and I think we should retire that, at least for now. At least for now. Give it a break. It's 30 years. It's a good long run. We had to reinvent ourselves many different ways along the way because of technology changes, etc. And I just felt that was going to be a good ending. 30 years. I wasn't closing the door necessarily on doing more, but I just felt at that point I just didn't have much new to offer, and I didn't want to fake it to my listeners. I felt that the run was good. We did a lot of great things, and I don't want to sound like a broken record.
Is there any inkling or any feeling on your end of wanting to get back into it somehow, or does Sports Talk have a nice A to Z to it for you now?
No, I actually, writing this book actually made me feel like I do want something more. And now everybody, or not everybody, but many people are doing podcasts. And I have some thoughts on that, to do a weekly podcast or twice a week podcast. I haven't got, to first base on it yet. I do know this. I have hundreds of hours of archived material. And I sort of had an idea that I would incorporate some of these timeless interviews with big name sports people into a podcast, sort of a yesterday and today kind of thing. But I haven't really perfected it in my mind. The book was really a challenge. The book was taking all the hours, which was great. I've said to other people, nobody interviewed more book authors than I did in the course of 30 years. but I had no idea how much work all those authors put in, or most of them did, to make their book come to fruition. So this is in many ways a crowning achievement for me, just getting this book from A to Z, as you said. But I miss it. I'm not that old. I'm in the early 60s. I feel I still have something to offer. I feel more rejuvenated. I think the break has been good. The question is, what's out there, and is there any appetite for what I could offer? And maybe the answer to that is no. Maybe I have had my run, and if that's the case, great. I mean, no problem. I've had a great run, and a book now that documents it all. I'm okay, but part of me would like it if somebody else wanted it.